Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. We're discussing Looking, Season 1, obviously, Episode 3.
Looking at your browser history, I think was the title of this one.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah, right, because there was that an interesting moment. But again, not again, because we haven't talked about it yet, but so, and I'm curious what your thoughts is. We've each done it. We haven't talked about it together.
Yeah, we haven't. No, we have not.
And I don't feel fully invested in the show, and I'm not quite buying the characters.
It's a slow burn, this show, for sure. I mean, they're not, I think, even by the standard of HBO shows, they would have normally thrust a lot of exposition at this point. I kind of feel like the conversations and the events are less about things happening than just letting us know who these people are. Even sometimes in throwaway comments. I feel like a lot of what we're learning about Patrick, it comes from just sort of side observations that people are making, like in the pilot when Dom says, you got to stop worrying about what your mother thinks, you know. He's withholding information, you know, like he doesn't want to talk about his family, he doesn't want to talk about his past, and I think we're going to mine stuff like that later. And if you saw Andrew Haig's film Weekend, there's that same sort of elliptical sense of these conversations that on their face don't seem to be telling you a lot, but they accumulate into really creating these characters. So I think I'm giving the show the benefit of the doubt so far that it's going to reward our patience.
Well, I obviously I hope it does, and I think I misspoke or I was careless. It's not that I don't buy the characters; it's that I perhaps even worse. I'm afraid I don't find them interesting.
No, okay.
And I'm certainly not. Has nothing to do with the behavior that's supposed to that was warned that might shock straight America.
I warned you about that. I don't know that the show necessarily thinks that it's going to.
No, but I mean, that's obviously part of the, I mean, I'm sure that many people who watched that show, were like, oh, HBO is a new show. Holy crap!
What?
Yeah. I get that. I'm sure that it's, that part is interesting, and I'm sure it's, accurate and credible for some people. I don't think Patrick is interesting at all, and who's the guy with the beard? The guy who moved to Oakland.
Augustine.
Right. So Patrick's former roommate. So I'm indifferent to him. I don't really like him, but I guess he's a little interesting. I don't like some parts of him. The Dom, the older guy, is by far the most interesting. I like the idea, and he had a great scene in the sauna with Scott Bakula,
right?
In this episode,
coming off of Behind the Candelabra, interestingly.
Coming off, that's right, Behind the Candelabra. He's found his wheelhouse. Scott Bakula.
So.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Quantum Leap was a gay show. I didn't.
We have to go back and redefine the whole thing, and Enterprise too.
And this guy who's been in San Francisco a long time, owned a flower shop, institution, and then he refers to the waiters. And it's interesting, the way waiters at restaurants, you're like, that guy has been here forever. And Dom is one of those guys who's been at this specific restaurant for a long time. And, and I like the way, there was one moment that I really liked when his former partner, his former boyfriend, comes back, and he'd hurt him in some terrible way and taken $8,000 from him, and the guy's clearly gone through rehab and he's making amends. He's not going to pay back the money, which was nice. And then Dom yells at him at a meeting, he goes off to meet his clients, and he's like, once a meth head, always a meth head. And he turns back like he was like, I don't know if I should have said that. I don't know if that was as satisfying as I thought. Well, I don't care.
It played better in my head.
Right, it played better in my head.
But I think the thing with Patrick is that they cast Johnathan Groff, who is, I think, super charismatic and is the kind of actor that you get sucked into. But he makes mistake after mistake, and clearly has a lot of baggage and a lot of issues, and wants to be sort of a libertine, but can't quite nail the landing, and also wants a commitment, but can't quite do that either. And we're getting very little hints along the way about why this guy is what he is, and I think the waiting for that reveal is as interesting as just getting to know him, even though he is, granted, a somewhat unlikable character.
Yeah, unlikable and unlikable because he's dumb. Not really dumb. He's clearly quite bright, but
he just makes a lot of mistakes.
Dumb at life and doesn't seem to. He doesn't know people at all, and he so when he was with that guy he was incredibly attracted to, the Latino guy, and he has that moment where he's, trying to get him to talk about Mexico, and it was just awkward. And then the part about whether the guy was cut or uncut, you're like, dude, you don't, Like, it's okay to wonder about that stuff. It's okay to wonder about
Just
it.
don't say it out loud.
To a new person. Like, in 3 weeks, you might be able to say it to him, but not right
I mean,
now.
look, the OK Cupid date was, in the first episode, like, wow, okay, you really just have no idea, like, what you say and what you don't say when you're getting to know somebody. And so it's like, I think we've all been there to some extent or another, maybe not to that measure, but it's like we talked about girls today. Like, these are characters who make really huge mistakes and who are self-centered in weird ways, and how far do you stretch that without the audience losing them? And I think,
but I don't think these guys are much better guys than the girls on Girls. Like they have moments of real tenderness toward each other as friends. I mean. I don't know. I think Patrick is a good guy. Patrick doesn't know how to talk to people. Patrick, I want to slap, right? But I mean, when he's talking about his job and his worries, and then Dom says to him, "I thought this was about me," he genuinely is like, "Oh my God, you're right. I'm sorry." And he put his arm around him and walked him. And then when Augustine got fired and he came home, and they hang out and they have Thai food and they're just really kind and decent to each other in these. And Patrick is interested, like, oh my God, you got fired today. It's a big deal.
And of course,
things that Lena Dunham's character would never say.
Yeah, she would have. But of course, Augustine does the sort of thing that people do, where they drop a bombshell and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it." Why are you here?
Right, exactly.
But I like the idea of. I love his line about we aren't good at being what we say we are. And how I like that how he takes the initiative to actually like put some elbow grease into his work and commit to this thing that he has apparently always wanted to do and that means something to him. I'm a little skittish about the whole sex work thing coming up this early. Like, that seems to be kind of sometimes that has in other hands has been sort of a plot shorthand of like, well, my back's against the wall, I guess I'll be a sex worker now. But it's hard to do shows week to week and analyze them. We'll see how this plays out and where it goes. I'm a little.
I would hope he doesn't. I would hope he doesn't make that call.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and even if he does make that call, I mean, it's just introducing it as a plot thing is.
No, I don't mean. I got no judgment on whether he makes the call at all. I just mean, like, I don't think that guy would make that call right now.
No, and it would be sad that he completely gives up on art that quickly. I think they're trying to express the idea that he does still have that in him, and he's just got to refine it, and
But you brought up something interesting there that when Augustine goes to see Patrick and he drops that bombshell, it's like, I don't want to talk about it. But that's a really human thing to do. Like, I don't want to talk about it, but what I want to do is be with my friends.
Yeah, no.
And I don't want to be alone, and I don't even want to be with my boyfriend.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's recognizable behavior. Yeah. I'm not knocking the show for it. I'm just saying like that. Yeah. I've been in that situation before where you're just like, oh, But yeah, no, I totally get that. And I'm interested in this. The Kevin character, I think, is interesting.
Kevin's the boss.
The British boss. Yeah. He, that seems like there could be some interesting dynamics going there. And I love Russell Tovey. He's great.
I don't know that there's much suspense in this show yet for is he gay or is he not gay? I'm like, I think he's probably gay.
It's a male with a speaking part at this point, except for the Asian friend,
Right, exactly, the token straight Asian friend. Right? That was but amusing. Although that was one of my problems with it. I was not a fan of that whole scene on the aircraft carrier. Partly I didn't know what was happening, but I instantly didn't like anybody there. Like they all felt sort of petty and self-involved, and I was made. But like I got it. It's okay not to like characters. I mean, the shows that we love have unlikable characters. But they're usually not nasty, and I just as the first scene in a show, like that was the first time as I watched it. I watched that this morning actually. So for the first 3 or 4 minutes, I was like, I don't want to watch anymore.
Well, it was an office party. How those can be really awkward and whatever. I don't know. I kind of bought into it, and I, admittedly, have always had a soft spot for Russell Tovey because he was he was in one episode of Doctor Who as a guy named Alonso.
Oh, nice. All right.
And so now every geek girl at a Starbucks, whoever takes my order, asks me, "Oh, do you watch Doctor Who?" And I don't actually watch Doctor Who, but I know that factoid. So
all right. Well, that's
bless his heart. I understand why people are thinking that this show is slow or boring or whatever, but I don't agree with them, and I'm still on board. I want to see where it's all going to go.
Yeah, I want to see where it goes to. Before we go, one question for you from a totally critical point of view. They obviously had a choice to make with a show that's going to show such an honest depiction of not just gay relationships, but gay brief relationships of,
sure.
The way,
one night stands or whatever.
Yeah, the way every man would behave if women would cooperate, right? So gay men just have this opportunity. And so they had a chance in the first episode to show two guys who meet 4 minutes before going at it, and they didn't. And that there are many producers, there are many showrunners, no matter what kind of show, who would think we're going to start big and we are going to let people know what this is. But that first episode, and you'd given me that warning, like, oh wait a minute, but they didn't do it. They waited, and I find it curious how long they waited. They were very careful with how they introduced that, I thought.
Well, I think the fact that our first exposure to this character is hooking up with a stranger in a park, even if it doesn't go anywhere, is still already pretty. It's pretty bold. And the fact that he doesn't go through with it, I think, already tells us a lot about that character.
Sure, but from a how are we going to introduce the fact that this is a show about something that basically, if we consider HBO mainstream, and I certainly think we can now, that we haven't seen, that is taboo-ish. I think it's interesting that they waited until episode 3 to really give it to us.
Well, it depends. I mean, there's a three-way in the first episode involving a,
Second, wasn't it the second episode?
No, it's in the first episode.
Really?
Involving a, monogamous couple,
right.
With a guest star, and that's for TV pretty,
Right. I thought that was episode 2.
No, it was episode 1.
All right, well, all right, never mind.
and I think there's more to this show than, look, dudes banging, because we had Queer as Folk for that. This is going to be the smart show where dudes occasionally bang.
Yeah, no, I got it. There's more to the show. I'm certain that was a conversation of how much do we give away in our chance to make the first impression, and there's a stylistic choice that could be made, which is let's let everybody know right away, or let's ease into it.
I kind of feel like they have their cake and eat it. Like I said, the first show is an anonymous tryst. The first scene is an anonymous tryst in a park, but it's also one that doesn't go to completion, and it doesn't go to completion not because of any skittishness on the part of the makers, but because that's who this character is.
Yeah, in fact, he's now 0 for 2.
Yeah,
in completions.
Clearly. So this is. I think it was shrewd and like, okay, this is what you think this show is going to be, but it's not. It's going to be about this guy and his friends and their issues and stuff.
What's the opposite of that?
The opposite of be the lady version. I don't know. I couldn't tell.
No, I meant the non-finished part of that.
No, I don't
sorry. All right. Well, all right. As usual, you've convinced me otherwise. We will be back next week, episode 4. Looking. Thanks, everybody.